Hey everybody, welcome back to my series of videos on advanced mindfulness. I wanted to respond to a comment that was posed about what our goals are and what we're trying to do here. And I want to make sure that this idea that we're talking about advanced mindfulness is understanding that we are teaching people how to think. I just don't want to give you something to think about, but I want to teach you how your brain works so you can better control it. This is true mindfulness. A lot of people will talk about mindfulness and really connect some terms like meditation and things, and those are great behaviors, but behavior modification without changing thought patterns is not a great way to come about with change, okay? It may spark up something. Sometimes people go to the gym and that's enough to start changing their thinking, and they think just going to the gym was it. It was the behavior. It wasn't just the behavior. The behavior was able to spark some thoughts. What we're going to do is we're going to cut through that. We're not just going to give you behaviors to do and hope one of these sparks up your thinking. We're going to go straight to that source. We're going to go straight to the thinking. In the previous couple of videos, we talked about some history of psychology. We talked about the nature of things and how things work inside the body. We gave the acronym of T, and we said that stands for thoughts, emotions, and behavior, because this is the true order of things. And we might as well work with that first domino, right? We're working with thoughts. In the second video, we talked about the elements of thought and how they worked together to create the 8 different categories of thinking. Now, and we talked a little bit about the differences in these and some of the similarities. Now, even though they're 8, and it's not that difficult, this is 15 years of research, people, that I got on one whiteboard, so I'm really trying to break it down and make it as easy as possible for everyone to understand. Now, even with these 8, and we will be talking about all 8, we really need to focus in on just a couple, because some of these categories don't really matter, if you will, in therapy. If you like silver cars over red cars, I don't really care. I care more about your emotional thinking. And the 2 specific emotional thoughts that I care about with you are your internal ones, right? That's why there's I on each one of these. And these are really the most impactful types of thoughts for the brain anyway, especially psychologically and emotionally. So those are the ones that we're going to key in on. And yes, unfortunately, and this is what keeps a lot of people out of therapy, is the first stage is negative, right? Yes. And we get it, because negative thoughts can lead to negative emotions and negative actions. The worst one being suicide or homicide. So yeah, these need to be sort of dealt with first. And then we'll get to stage 2. Obviously, positive thoughts are extremely important. But like we said in the second video, if you're just working on positive thinking, you're doing 1/6 of the job. Negative thoughts serve a purpose. They're very important. And the reason negative thoughts are important is because the ultimate goal of your brain is to keep you safe. So negative thoughts actually keep you safe. We'll go to the hyperbolic example. If I think everyone's a threat to me and I just stay in my house, am I safe? Yes. And my amygdala and my limbic system love that because I'm safe. Obviously, we need the other part of the brain to jump in there and say, well, wait a second, that doesn't seem like a good idea. If you're always at home, you'll never work and you won't be able to pay your mortgage and you'll be kicked out of your house. How safe is that, right? So that's why we have to understand that these negative thoughts keep you safe, but they're usually only effective in the short term. Long-term negative thinking is very detrimental. And we can go into other biological effects, and we might in other videos about cortisol and adrenaline and how that affects the body, and it's terrible. It's great in short term, can keep you very safe, but it's ultimately very detrimental living in that state. All right, stage 1, negative internal emotional thoughts. So we go through an event, and I'll use some big events because they're good examples of how the brain works, but it really works in multiple. If someone is abused, okay, that's the event. They have been abused when they were younger. That's going to cause a change in thinking, and we've got to be very aware of that. And one of the problems with childhood abuse and even early childhood abuse is because they don't know how to control their brains yet. And so these thoughts become patterns, and they don't know why they have them. They just have them, and of course negative thoughts help keep you safe. And so part of the brain says, no, this is a very good idea, and we can develop patterns of negative thinking as we age. So now we go through something when we're 17 or 23 or 39, and when we go through this event, we end up on this branch of negative internal emotional. What is that kind of a thought? That kind of a thought is, I suck, I'm worthless, I am no good, I am less than. And a lot of people end up on this branch when they've been victimized or abused or gone through some sort of trauma. Now, the problem with this type of thinking is it is almost always a lie. Practically, negative internal practical thoughts, you're not good at something, you made a mistake, those are real. But to say that you are worthless because something happened to you, that's where I got a problem, right? And that's the worst branch for the brain, because if the brain thinks that I'm worthless, if my brain thinks I'm worthless, it's on fire, because it's a blanket statement. I'm worthless at math, I'm worthless in relationships, I'm worthless everywhere in my life. It's not just I'm bad at math. If I have a negative internal practical thought that I'm bad at math, my brain says, okay, and it does want to be self-sufficient, so it doesn't love that thought. But of course, I can gain a math, I can take a math class. You fix practical with practical. Once we stray into the emotional area, we got problems, okay? So, one of the things we want to do right now is just like any mathematical problem, we want to have proof, right? We want to have proofs of this theory so we understand it works. So, one of my proofs in this area of how to think of a situation, even if that event is traumatic, and what branch should I end up on, is that I am, behind this door, one of my clients, she's a 10-year-old girl. She's been ritually abused for the last 2 years, and she thinks she sucks. She thinks she's awful and worthless. When I open this door, I want you to think about addressing her and saying, you know what, that thought that you have that you're worthless is correct. That's the one you should keep in your head for the rest of your life, and that will help guide you throughout your life. Are you going to tell that 10-year-old girl that she's worthless and that's the correct thought to be on? No. Everyone I've asked, it's been universal, they say no, that would be a terrible, I'd never tell a child that. Well, we can't be hypocrites then and say, well, because I went through something, that rule is different. I really am less than, and I've got a bunch of reasons to back that up. It's a lie, it's not true. And so what I want you to do is, because these are like mini sessions, if you will, I want you to think back in your history and the events that you've had and how they've affected your thinking in a negative, internal, emotional way. If you have any of these, and I talk to a lot of people, I'm guessing you have some. I need you to look at that, and I need you to come up with a list of what you think about yourself in a negative way, right? And there'll be words probably like useless and worthless and hopeless. I've got a whole list of them. I've got 15 years of adjectives that people have given me. And it's important that we know this, because we as people need to know our enemy. And this is our true enemy. Our enemy is not the abuse. It's not even the person that did it to us. It's our own thinking that is now corrupted and will affect you throughout your life. So it needs to be fixed. So that's our review on our review and a little bit of work on stage 1. Be aware of your thinking and know how things affected you in a negative emotional way, because those are the thoughts that we need to work on. They are the most detrimental. They cause the most negative emotions, like anxiety and depression. And as that anxiety and depression build up, that will spill over into your actions. And actions, again, are, sleeping all the time, or of course not sleeping if your brain's on fire. So there's a lot of behavior things. Those could go in a million directions. Those, in a sense, are the leaves of the tree. We can chase the leaves. I need you to be at the trunk of the tree and working with me here. Because if this is diseased, running after leaves is futile. So that's our video. Next time we are going to take a step into stage 2 and look about what that looks like. When we create this void and we're trying to smash down negative thinking, if we don't do something, we don't fill that up, this will leak back in. So next video will be about what that looks like. So God bless, and we'll see you next time. Comment, like, do all that YouTube stuff, and we'll see you next time.